Welcome to the Tennis Hackery podcast, episode number 32. Tennis Hackery is the place where we discuss all things tennis that relate to the fundamentals, the fitness, and the mindset aspect of the game. Today is a very, very special episode regarding the mindset. We have Coach Alex, and along our special guest is one of the grandmasters of modern tennis strategy and analytics, Coach Craig O'Shaughnessy. Hi, Coach Craig. How are you doing?
A pleasure. I'm at home in Austin. Grandmaster is a wonderful thing to say. No one's ever called me that. So I,
Yep. Yes,
so I
indeed.
kind of like it. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to go change all my business cards and just Grandmaster Craig,
Yes, please. Yeah.
and that'll help me.
Yep.
It's great to be chatting with you guys, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Uh, Coach Craig, during most of our guests, we always ask the guests to talk a bit about their background, your journey as a player, coach, and how you moved on to the strategy and analytics space. So, if you could give us a overview of your journey.
I'm going to show you right here. My favorite thing. My favorite thing is it's on this wall. It's right. Do you see those little
Yes.
right there?
Yes.
And I point to right there, right there.
Indeed.
The bowls, or what are you pointing
Yeah.
at?
No, not the balls. These guys right here.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So I did that for my parents. They're all from my sophomore year, my freshman year of college. I played at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was not exactly the spot that I wanted to be at. I transferred. I went to Saddleback Junior College and came in ranked 31 in the state in junior college. And my goal was like, okay, I'm leaving Oral Roberts. I'll go to a junior college. Hopefully I'll do well, and then I'll go back to a 4-year college. That was my goal. So I started at 31, ranked 31, which I was playing three through six at Oral Roberts. So I think it was probably even a bit generous that I was 31. Anyway, the first tournament of the year was in Santa Barbara for junior college. It's a 256 player draw. I make the finals. I lose to this guy, Joe Thomas, 3-3 in the final. He was way better than me. Then I finished, then like the next rankings, I don't know, I was like 7 or something, so in the top 10. And then as school went on, I progressively got worse and worse again. And I'm back into the 30s, and it's time for the finals. The season's done. And I was playing for Saddleback Junior College, and I got some work to do to get a scholarship in D1. So I make the final of our regional, and then I win Southern Cal. I win Southern
Wow.
Cal,
Wow.
and I had to play. So it's eight from Southern Cal, 8 from Northern Cal, and I'm in the round of 16. I have to win this match in order to go to state finals. Have to, otherwise you don't get it. And the guy I got to play again is Joe Thomas, who is undefeated for the year. And I'm like, rough. But thankfully for Craig, he's a little injured. There's a little forearm issue, there's a shoulder issue, and I get him. I get him in the quarters. I beat one of my roommates on our team in the semis, and I beat a French guy in the finals. So then I go to state and make the final in singles. We win it as a team. We went 21-1. We only lost to Grossmont. So we win everything as a team. I make the final in singles. I lose 4 in the third. So I finished the year ranked 2.
Wow.
Nice. Nice.
And just the roller coaster. But what's interesting is how life works, is that since we lost to Grossmont, we were not a fan of their team. We had a bitter kind of rivalry. We weren't a fan of their coach. I'm sure they weren't a fan of ours either. Anyway, we win the tournament. I come down for breakfast the next morning. It's packed of players because now we've got the singles and doubles we've been played. There's only one seat that I can sit on with my breakfast is next to the Grossmont coach. And I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to sit next to this guy. But anyway, I've got to. So we make some small talk and yada, yada. He's very nice. And he goes, where are you going? I'm like, I have no idea. I have zero idea where I'm going to go after this because coming into the tournament, I was 30 something. No one's going to recruit me. It's 30 in the state, even though California is very, very strong. Anyway, he goes, I hear Baylor's got an opening.
Wow.
So I kind of know Baylor because I drove by it once in my freshman year. My roommate lived in Uvalde, so we drove by it and I saw it. It looked like a monstrous school. So anyway, I give the coach a call and at Baylor, and he goes, I go, I'm Australian. We've just won team, and this is after it all. So like, I'm two in the state. I didn't tell him I was 30 in the state like 2 weeks earlier, but he goes, I'll call you tomorrow. And so he calls me tomorrow, and I'm like, he goes, I can give you half a scholarship. And I'm like, Coach, I'm Australian. I need a full ride. I have to have a full ride. He goes, okay, I'll give you a full ride. And that was it. That was my pathway to Baylor, my junior and senior year, and playing college tennis, which I greatly enjoyed. So yeah, it was coming over from Australia. I grew up on playing on grass courts, and I wasn't that good, but I could figure out the opponent. And it was probably a good thing I wasn't that good because my serve was average. I'm a lefty, but average. My forehand was okay. My volleys were the best part of my game, but I could outthink opponents. I could figure out where they're weaker. So I think the pathway I've gone down at the moment is, putting the opponent first, understanding the strengths and weaknesses really does come from my upbringing of walking on the court. And most of the time, opponents are better, but most of the time, I walk off with a victory. So
Mm.
that's how it all started.
No, thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Some of those anecdotes were pretty good. Yeah. And how did you segue into a career into strategy and analytics as a coach?
Really, really simple. So I graduated from Baylor in 1991. 1991 was also the year with a journalism degree. And 1991 was also the year that analytics came out on the Pro Tour. But it's a bit of a disguise because it's really the umpire sitting at their chair with pen and paper in 91 and going, first serve in, first serve fault, second serve in, double fault. Did you hold serve? Were you broken? And one other line item, aces
mm,
maybe. Seven. So for a decade, the ATP said we're not paying a cent to anyone in the world to get analytics because we've got seven line items, and that powered our sport. And then other items started to pop in.
Right.
The worst one of all was unforced errors, and so if we just go back to 91, when I graduated, I'm like, do I go to a profession of writing? Sports Illustrated was very appealing to me at the time, or do I go coaching? And I ended up going coaching, and then it was really simple. It was like, okay, well, what's our sport all about? If you go to baseball, you've got all the analytics of matches. Football the same, soccer the same, tennis seven. So I
mm,
saw it was like pathetic. It was really bad. But that created an opportunity for me because I said, okay, well, I'm going to do it myself. So I started out with pen and paper recording things, and then Dartfish comes along in 2005 with match tagging.
mm,
That was everything.
Right.
Once I could tag a match and record a match, a pro match or a junior match that I'm coaching, and be able to tag and say, and not only the tagging to get the analytics, but Max tagging and Darfish said, all I want to see is forehand returns. Click a button. There they are.
mm,
I
yeah.
only want to see first serves out wide in the juice court. There they are. I only want to see net points lost. There they are. So up until that time, no one has looked at a match. We've all looked at it in sequence.
Mhm.
We've never looked at it by patterns. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my goodness, tennis is a game of patterns because these same things keep popping up again and again. And I'm doing it with junior players and I'm doing it with pros. And I'm doing it with pros. I'm doing a lot with like Federer and Nadal. I'm recording their matches. I'm bringing it in. I'm like, Fed's just doing the exact same thing every time. Rafa's just hitting a serve plus one forehand every time. And how have
Yes.
I never seen this? It was only because I created a panel in Dartfish to extract stuff that I had no idea that I was going to extract. But I'm like, let me record that. I don't know if it's important or not, but let me record it. And then all of a sudden, the patterns of the game emerged, and that's how I got into it. So, I've gone to conferences and people come and it's like, Craig, I'm a stats major at MIT. I love your work, and I'm like, I'm not your guy. I mean, I'm not a stats geek at all. You know, I It's essentially true, but I said, physics, chemistry, and math, I almost failed in high school. I hated them. I have an English degree, or I like English. I have a journalism degree, and I like to write. So it was never, I got involved with it not because of analytics, just because I want to help my players win. But in order for me to do that, I got to give them the right information.
True.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to segue into what have you been up to lately? Which players have you been working with? And I know you've been also working with the Italian Tennis Federation, so I would love to hear some about that as well.
Yeah. Before COVID, like 2017, 18, 19, the 3 years I worked with Novak on his team with Murray and Vida as the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was great. Then COVID hits in 2020. So the tour stops. So I was a six-figure income overnight because there's no more tour, there's no more matches. But and it goes back to 2013 when I was coaching at a club here in Austin, and it ended after a year running an academy. And at the end of that, I'm like, it's not what do I want to do next. It's not do I go back on the tour coaching? Do I become a director of tennis? What do I do back in 2013? And I'm like, number one thing I will do is I'll diversify. I will absolutely make sure at the end of every month I've got income coming in from multiple streams.
Right.
I do not want to be relying on one entity at all. So I did that. So in 2020, when COVID hits, I lose a good sum of money overnight, but I've diversified in 2013. So I have a website, and the website goes bananas because you can't get outside and do anything. And I make more money than I did coaching on the pro tour. So, so that was a big part of what I did. I enjoy very much doing my own business.
Right.
Throughout the years, I've had opportunities to bring on people and grow. And I'm like, you know what? I could probably make more money doing that, but I'm really happy doing my thing and diversifying my thing. So what I've come back to is working with players again, not as their full-time coach, the worst job in tennis, but we can talk more about that. But being doing the strategy. Like this morning, there's a girl playing that I'm working with. A French girl who's around 200, and she's playing in China. So she won her first round. They sent me the match. I cut it up. I make 2 videos. I'm spending a lot of time in iMovie and making up these short videos of 5 or 6 minutes long. Here's all your best patterns from this match, and then another video to improve. So I will go into Zoom and put the match up and record it. But I also again, group things together. So in the best patterns of play, it's sequential by, I put all your serving at the start, then you're returning, then the serve +1, then the rallying, and then I talk over it. So it's like, hey, I'll pause it. Hey, this was a great serve +1 forehand. Look how much you got around it. Look how well you held the opponent. Look how well you kept your left hand on the racket, and look how well you shaped the ball. And then we go through the to improve. I'm like, we start off with, yes, tennis is around 70% errors. Yes, we're not trying to get to zero, but we want to make good errors. Good errors where you're running the right strategy, you do the right things, you miss the ball. We want to get rid of bad stuff. So I'll talk through that. And so I'm giving them the raw file with the writing on the bottom. Here's your serve +1 forehand winners. So you'll see every time a point comes up, they can look in the bottom right corner and know what the focus of that point is. And then I'll give them that so that it's there's no talking, none of my talking over it, but I'll also give them the exact same video with my talking on it. So they're like, hey, I've listened to Craig do it. I don't want to listen to him again. I just want to see everything. So they've got both. So like yesterday, there's a girl in China playing from France. Today, there's a girl from Turkey playing in Mexico. There's Gabrielle Diallo, who I work with. There's Pericard, Mukesh Pericard, who's playing Davis Cup this weekend. So yeah, a variety of players. And what's fascinating, I worked with a couple of players this year that killed it after 6 months, like gone from 80 to 40 in 6 months. And
Wow.
at the end of 6 months, they're like, bye, Craig. And it's like, okay, cool. But
Yeah.
what I do wrong. You won $1.5 million in 6 months. You've got the best ranking you've ever had. So it's just the nature of the beast. What you've got to
It
do
is, yeah.
is have a very thick skin. And when somebody says we want you, like great. And when at the end of the year or whenever it is like, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. But when it ends, it's like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So that's tennis.
I totally resonate with that. I was a traveling coach on tour for 4 or 5 years, and when you said it's the worst job, I understand what you mean, even though it has really fun parts, but it's hard. It's a hard job for sure.
The problem is, and it still exists, I wish the ATP would come out with a standardized agreement between a coach
Yeah,
and a player. And the coach, the player is going to provide, or then they do at the moment. They provide all the airfare, they provide all the accommodation, they provide the food, and then you say, how do we set things up? Do we set it up so we're just doing a percentage? I'm getting a percentage of what you make. What's better is I'm getting a regular income each month, and if you do
yeah,
well, I'm getting a
yeah.
percentage of that. But there's so many coaches that don't know how to handle that contract.
It's tricky. Yeah,
It's very tricky, and
yeah,
the players from Portugal, and you're a coach from Australia, and a piece of paper what we're both written on is worth nothing,
yeah,
as
yeah.
a contract. So it's really a lot of it is in good faith, and coaches get, they almost always come out on the bad side of that. Plus,
Yeah.
from my perspective, I'm like, okay, I've given this player all of my
Everything.
intellectual
Yeah,
property. I've given them everything I know, and now things just ended. Who comes off better? The coach is
yeah,
trained and got zero and has got to start again, and the player has everything that you've got.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
really think the ATP should, or the ATP WTA professional tennis should come up with an agreement and with some options. How do you want to arrange this? And there's an other, but here's how it's typically done. And
Mm,
if the player quits, they've got to pay maybe 2 months or 3 months to the coach.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The coach is not left dry. It's like, oh my God, I don't have income starting Monday.
100%.
That's
Yeah.
rough. That's really
Mm-hmm.
rough. And a lot of it, I spoke to coaches before. They're like, one of the coaches who works with the top 10 players said, you hope that the first week or first month, by luck, a lot of times things go well.
Yeah.
And then they're more likely to listen to you. And you more, but especially coaching on the tour is it's glorified babysitting in a lot of ways because let's say you're in an event. You wake up in the morning, you're at the hotel, you have your breakfast at the hotel, you go to the courts, you've got a morning practice, you have lunch, you have an afternoon practice. All practice is now is you hit with other players, but it's an hour long. Sometimes it's four on the court where I hit with you, you hit with me for 30 minutes, and then I'll play 2 points and you play 2 points. Or if you have a full court, we hit for 30 minutes and they hit just long enough that when they start playing points afterwards, the set's not going to get finished. No one wants to lose that practice set. So they organize the practice so it's not long enough for anyone to lose it. It's going to end up 4-3, it's going to end up 5-2, and then we're going to leave the court. I
Yeah.
didn't lose. So but then we're not getting better. You are absolutely
Mm-hmm.
not getting better in that 1 hour hit in the morning.
Yeah.
That one you've got to do extra.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go, okay, what are we doing at 5? What are we doing at 7? What are we doing early in the morning? I just had a kid go to Kalamazoo, working with him up there. In order to get a court, we had to get up at 6:45. No, we had to leave. We had to be on court at 6:45 in the morning because matches start at 8. So, he's got to get up at 6. We leave at 6:20. We're there at 6:30. We've got a court to ourselves for an hour. Then he's
Mm-hmm.
got his match. And then in the afternoon, every single day for 9 days we were there, we go for at least an hour in the afternoon around 4 o'clock, depending on his time. So he's on court 3 times a day, including matches. But that's what you have to do. You
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
get better by sitting on a couch.
100%.
Yeah. Coach Craig, so moving on. So just wanted to talk a bit about, the tennis tactics and patterns. So really fascinated by the initial research that you put out from, I think, studying the 2015 US Open. I think that was where you mentioned you came out with this 2/3 of the points end in under 4 shots or less for singles. And you said this is at all levels. So I see this pattern. I have charted a lot of recreational adults as well as junior matches, and I have seen this pattern as well. Swing vision data, things like that. So given this, what is a good way for I guess both juniors as well as the recreational adult players to train to put their time on the practice court, keeping this in mind?
Okay, so the player wants to feel the ball.
Yes.
They want to feel it on the strings. They want to feel good about that. And you can't really take that away from them. That's an important part of tennis. So we've got that. We're doing a balancing act. So for example, a lot of times on the practice court, if I have two players, I'll put a line out on the 10 and under line. And I say, okay, our warm up is one player is going to hit 40 balls. I don't know why I picked 40. It's a random number, but it's probably for about the time that it takes. So I said, one player hits 40 balls between the baseline and that 10 and under line. And that's their goal. And the other player, your goal is not to miss. You can hit it anywhere you want. It can be a little short, it can be a little deep, doesn't matter. But you're working on your consistency, and the other player is working on depth. Now, while that player is working on depth, they think they're working on their touches. I'm touching the ball a lot, which they love, which I don't really care about. I care about the depth that they're hitting. So they're starting practice with 40 deep balls. Then they switch sides. Then the other person hits for 40 deep balls, and I work on my consistency. So
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a great way to start. It's a great way to start. So, you've got to marry these two that we've got. It is a game of, you don't lose many matches when you don't miss. But, there's also good misses. And we also say, trying not to miss a shot is not the right way. It is not the most successful way to play our sport at all. The fact that the sport is, a really key part of tennis is we manipulate scoring systems and do a bunch of things. I just saw an email this morning about something, tennis tie breaks has been adopted for something. So we've got a lot of different ways, but because it takes 2 points to end the game, is a very special part of our sport, and so when we take that out, when we have no ad, no ad works great, works absolutely great in next gen. Next gen is a phenomenal way to play tennis. So it's on my blog. I'm just going off the reservation here for a second, but so it was like 2021. I took my son with me. As I work with Italy, I sit and watch every match. It was when Sinner won it, I think, in 21. We watch every match of next gen. So that's first to four, tiebreaker at 4-all, and no ad scoring.
That's good. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's a great way. There's no one on their phone. There's no one on their phone. There's every point matters. And actually, I'm just gonna pull up. I already have this ready. I'm just gonna give me 1 second here. Okay, so here's just a little breakdown, a little bit of information. So, and then actually the next thing was, so you've got the exact same format the following week in Milan for the ATP finals. So you've got the same format. The only thing different is the scoring system. So next gen, the average match is 1 hour and 30. ATP finals, it's 1 hour and 43. Average points per match, next gen's 132 to 144. It's fairly even.
Yeah.
Break points, which is a big deal that get the fan engaged. Next gen 213, ATP finals 128, about half.
Okay.
Matches with 12 plus break points, 12 plus.
Yep.
Next gen was 11 of 15. ATP finals 1 of 15. One. And the last one here is where is it? Tiebreakers. So next gen had 20, ATP finals had 9. When you look at it, I advocate, okay, if you're running an ATP 250 event, you put in this scoring system. No one's going to be on the, as I come back. The next week, I'm watching all the best players in the world. Love all, one all, 2-1, 2-all, 3-2, 3-2, 3-all, 4-3, and everybody is doing this. Everybody's on their phones until it gets to about 4-all or 5-4.
Yeah.
You got Medvedev playing Rublev. No one is interested in that until it gets to the end of the set.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've been open in changing a bunch of things. I think slams stay where they are, Masters 1000 stay where they are, but ATP 250s and 500s, and the same on the women's and lower. Put in the best of 5 sets scoring system, and people that want to make their mind up before doing it, go and play it, go and watch it. Go and experience it and immerse yourself in it, and you will instantly see it's a superior scoring system in today's day and age.
Well, everything you mentioned.
I probably didn't answer your question, but
you helped me with my next questions, actually. Because I was going to ask you, like, when I saw you at St. Mary's, when I played at St. Mary's, it was about the biggest thing that really stood out, and that was very like a huge confirmation for me, was forcing errors. Like, the game is about forcing errors, and I would love for you to elaborate a little bit on that. But I also wanted you already mentioned the depth, that was like the most important factor, more important than consistency or power. Is that still the case? So those two together.
Yeah, it is still the case. It's absolutely still the case. Forcing, hitting winners is 30% of tennis. Yeah. So if you just go 70%, 30% as a pie chart, do you want to be the king or queen of the 70% or the 30%? It's not even a tennis question. It's just math. Do you want to be better at things that happen 7 points out of 10 or 3 out of 10? So quite often, one of the fascinating things that just kind of popped into my head over the years is that match losers, and I need a number for this, and I need to get a number, but at the moment I'm going to say regularly. Match losers regularly hit more winners than the match winner does. Hitting winners is not a very good indicator of the final outcome of the match. So then you go, okay, the errors. What happened was a gentleman named Leo Levin, who played at Foothill College with Brad Gilbert, who really is into stats. One day, as a 19-year-old, one day created, let's just see how every point ends on our team, on our community college team, and we're going to look at it and say, well, he shouldn't have missed that shot, so we'll call that an unforced error, and he should have missed that shot, so we'll call it a forced error. And then, so that's kind of Leo's baby. Then he got involved, I think, with CBS to do Indian Wells, and they're like, we have nothing about stats. Baseball has this error. Can you make up something like that? And so Leo just created it as a teenager. And the company that he created, SMT, I'm actually having a chat with them tomorrow about they're doing a new upgrade. They haven't done it in ages. And I'm like, I talk to so many people, get rid of the unforced error. Unforced error, you have no control of it, zero control. There's no benefit. And part of it is subjective. Yes. So last year, I go to the ITF World Coaches Conference in Bogota, Colombia. I have 10 points lined up of John Millman versus Rafael Nadal from the US Open a year ago, or a few years ago. So as tennis coaches, we with 100% accuracy, we know the difference between a forehand and a backhand. The difference between a serve and a return, the difference between a ground stroke and a volley, 100% accuracy around the world. It is not the same way with forced and unforced errors. It is guesswork. So the fact that we're guessing is ridiculous. Why have we got a part of our sport where 50% of the room says it's this and the other 50% of the room says it's that? So I'm like, okay. So I go to this conference. I put up my first screen as a QR code. There's 800 people in the room. They crashed the internet after about 200 are on there, but we've got 200 people and with the QR code. So I say, I'm going to show you a point. And you go on your screen, you just go forced or unforced. That's it. And then we go point two, forced or unforced. And then at the end of the 10 points, you click submit. And then I've instantly got them on my iPhone. So I show them the 10 points. They click submit. I've got their answers. So let's say it was a little over 200 people. Let's say it's exactly 200. So the first point comes up, and we show it again. I'm like, okay. So as a group in the room, you may have 150 for forced. You may have 50 for unforced. So whatever number's higher, that is your answer as a group, because you've just done more, even if it's close. So I go, the first answer is, I go, as a group, you selected forced.
Right.
IBM, the person at SMT who's been trained by the company, I go, look, what is their answer? What is the official answer? Unforced. And they're like, no way, they lose their mind. Number two, let's say it's unforced. IBM's answer is forced. So the room is 0 for 2. They're laughing, they're having a great time, but they're losing their mind. They go 0 for 3. They go 0 for 4. They go 0 for 5. They go 0 for 6. They agree finally with 7. It's a standing ovation. They agree with 8, and they don't agree with 9 or 10. So we are the global authority of our sport, coaches.
Right.
We agree 20% of the time with the people, with the stat nerds that are sitting on the side of the court with a hangover, trying to figure out, was that forced or unforced, which is, again, part of why I came up with the 8 ways to force an error, which, I taught to you, Alex, back in the day.
Yes.
Consistency, direction, depth, height, spin, power, court position, time. They're all amazing, and you want to layer them together.
Yes.
One on their own is good. If you hit a deep ball, good, or if you hit a wide ball, good. When it comes back, you'll be leaning on that shot. Now your ball has 2 qualities. It has height and spin. It has depth and direction. It has court position, and you're taking away time. Then you'll be inside the baseline having options. And 3, you combine 3 there, it doesn't come back. It's too much. So what we're trying to do is to force errors, but you go to the US Open this year and you look at all the stats everywhere. It says winners and unforced errors. And the forced error has been thrown away because it's not the baby, it's not the baby that was created. So it's tragic for coaches and people to still think and say unforced errors. So I'm going to do everything I can to get rid of the unforced error, or at least as a minimum. So we have winners, we have errors, and the errors are cut up between forced and unforced. But we go to US Open and they'll say it's this amount of force, this amount of forced and unforced. You go to Wimbledon, they do it completely differently. Completely differently. So they're like, our players don't miss and things are forced here. Whereas the other way is like, no, that was unforced. That was unforced. So it's not uniform at all. It's a tragedy.
It's not clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
What if you think about like ways to force the error, like the patterns, one that is a gray one has always been, and I would like to know how big of one you think it is, forehand versus the backhand, using your forehand to play against the backhand. And then the other pattern that I really remember from your presentations back in the day was going cross court, even more until you really get them off the court, and then going open court. Those 2 strategies really sat with me. Can you talk a little bit about other strategies that are big, like serve plus 1, perhaps? And
yeah. So in today's game, as the strokes and power and courts and balls and heaviness, things just morph a little bit, So what we have in today's game, the forehand has got, players are constantly saying the courts are slowing down, the balls are heavier, my arm hurts, from hitting this. So as the game is being slowed down, in order to hit the ball harder, we're going bigger here. We're trying to launch the thing. It's the opposite on the backhand. The backhand has become much shorter. In fact, it's almost a bunt, and they've figured out that, especially on defense, but even sometimes on offense, you can utilize your opponent's power with a very short swing on the backhand with 2 hands, very short. So what's happened is you are still getting errors out of the backhand, out of You remember the A, B, C, D. So
Hmm.
A is the outer half of the juice, B is
Yeah.
the inner half, C is the inner half of the ad, and D is the outer half. So when you go to the backhand in D, you are trying to extract an error, but the big key in today's game is to break down the opponent's forehand in position A. That's key. So I did an analysis a couple of years ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to elevate two parts of our game: forehands and backhands, and the length of the rally. So the length of the rally, I only made it two parts: 0 through 4 and 5+.
Hmm.
So I ended up with 12 categories. So 0 through 4, forehand winner, forehand error. 0 through 4, backhand winner, backhand error. And then 5+, forehand winner, forehand error, backhand error. So now we're at 8.
Hmm.
A serve winner, serve error, aces and double faults, we're at 10. And a net winner, volleys and overheads, winner and error. So we've got 12 parts to our sport. 8 of them include rally length and winners and errors off ground strokes. What I found, the number one way points end was forehand errors in 0 through 4. It's attacking the
Yeah.
forehand early. It's
Mm.
not attacking the backhand early. Back
Mm.
you are the number one way you win points is extracting those errors. So that's a forehand return. It's then a serve +1 forehand, and it's a return +1 forehand. And
Wow.
that combination of those three shots
Okay.
is more than anything else that you do out there. And the majority of those are in position A. So one of the other ways to extract errors is in the serve +1 area is just straight back down the middle to B.
Hmm.
So you're going deep to attack the size of the
So,
backswing
yeah,
on the
backswing.
forehand.
Yeah.
A lot of game plans
Mm.
are about attacking B with the return, and a lot of game plans are going straight down the middle to take time away.
Mm.
And that also gives you a return +1 forehand, which is a big deal. So you're not running to D defending with a backhand. Ball in the middle tends to stay in the middle,
Mm.
which then goes to the cross court pattern you talked about. I call it the 2-1 pattern, which is you go to C first, deep with shape, get it away from the net, push the opponent back, they come back cross to C. Then you go to D wider, as they you've hit a deep ball first, they've hit a slightly shorter ball. Then you go to D to pull them off the court, and then hopefully you've got to run around forehand now. And you freeze them. And
Mm.
they think it's going back to D, and it's not. You're going to A.
Yeah.
So one of
Go
the
open.
Yeah.
it's open, right? So one of the things you got to do, you got to open A. Don't just go straight to A with the opponent standing in the middle, because there are
Right.
2 steps they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But CDA
Yeah.
is gold.
I love how you explain that with
Yeah.
ABCD, and yeah, that's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because part of it is, I didn't know the importance of it until I saw a Hawkeye heat map, and I saw a big red area where they stand in the ad court behind the baseline. And so I'm like, how do I talk about this area? How do I tell somebody? It's like, well, this is where players hit most of the balls. And I just cut the
Hmm.
juice court in half and the ad court in half. I already had 1 through 8 for the service boxes. So I'm like, A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
And tennis is a C to C sport. More balls flow C to C. More forehand errors are in A. We want, A is a
Yeah.
bloodbath. If you go
Mm.
deep to B, it's a great place to go if you go deep, because the opponent doesn't necessarily want to hit it back to B to you. If they're all natural angles, so A will typically go to A and so on. But if you go deep to B, they don't want to hit it back to your forehand in the middle of the court. So they'll make wide errors a lot. And yeah, and D's a good place to approach. It's a good place to set up, but it's not. It's far more, you get far more bang for your buck switching to A. Getting them running from D to A is a great way to finish points.
Yeah, no, that's actually that stands out. You saying that going to A to the forehand, that is really a good play. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
that's makes sense. Yeah. Um, I would love to like, so you mentioned the drill of in the beginning of having 40 balls, like one person focusing on depth and the other person focusing on like just hitting the ball in and being
Consistency. Yeah.
consistent. Um, is there another drill that stands out? Like, because I love that, and that's definitely something I can take with me. Is there another drill that you really like to do? And I also wanted to focus a little bit on serving and returning needing more attention and more time in practice, and how you feel about that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to do a lot of times when we're rallying, where it's all about starting the point. You know, I'm going to go, like I said, we're going deep is starting the point. What I like to do a lot is how are we going to end it? How are we going to end this point? What's the good way to end it? So I'll put a line on, I'll feed, and from my side of the court, I'll put a line between A and B. And then I put a cone down the other end. The player starts behind that cone. So typically the cone's going to be dead in the middle of the court. I feed wide through the ad court, position D, and they've got to go straight down the line and hit a quality ball in position A. So I'm feeding it slightly weaker. Maybe it's up a little. Maybe they can lean on it. And they do 10 backhands down the line.
Mm.
Then you move the cone over a little bit into the middle of C. And now they've got to do 10 run around forehands down the line.
Mm.
And once they've done that, grab a sip of water. Let's do 10 backhands, 10 forehands. And if they're struggling, you take a bit more time. But if they're doing it real easy, you do, okay, we're doing 20. We're doing 20 before we take a little break. But
Yes.
the concept there is helping the player understand. You're teaching me how to play tennis, but you're not teaching me the right way to finish the point.
Mm.
And attacking A with backhands down the line and run around forehand. Run around forehand inside in from D to A is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you better practice it so the player, they're in a point and they instantly go, oh, I've seen this ball before. It's been fed to me. I know I need to run around this ball, and I know that if I'm in the right spot, then I go to A. I go straight down the line. So it's a little bit more of that, a little bit more of how to finish. I like that drill. And then serving and returning, there's a lot of drills. Like one of the ways I like to start practice, like I have the 4 serve locations, but I typically start with 3, a wide body tee. And I'll have in the juice court, I'll say, okay, the server's got to make 2-second serves in wide. And then once they've done that, they make 2-second serves at body, 2-second serves at tee. And then you go across tee, body wide. And then you go all the way across and all the way back. That's going to take 10 minutes. If the player is weaker, you just do 1. 1 wide, 1 body, 1 tee as a second serve. But again, you've got 6 locations to hit on the way over, 6 locations on the way back. That's 12 locations. That's 30 serves for somebody who's not that great.
Yeah.
It's probably, and then if it's a better player, 12, then it's 24 serves in, so it's probably 35 serves total. And then I'll have them do, okay, now we do the exact same drill as first serves. You've got to hit those spots. Then I love to do a drill. Once that's done, I say, okay, you nominate the spot. If you make it, 15 love. If you miss it, love 15. So they're playing a set now of only serving, but they've got to hit their spot. So, and again, you want it to be, and as a coach, you can manipulate this to be close. You want it to get to 4 all or 5 all. So if the player is good and they win it easily, I can go to 4 locations, which is tough.
Yeah.
If the player is kind of weaker, I can manipulate it and say, okay, when you're behind in the score, I'm going to give you 2 chances. If it's 30-40, if it's 30 all, you get 1. You got to hit it with 1. But 30-40, I'm giving you 2. So that kind of evens it out a little bit. You don't really want the player to win the drill 6 love or lose the drill 6 love. So you manipulate it that way, so that it has some pressure. And it's very difficult to simulate pressure, but this is good.
Yeah.
Being a spot server, not many people can be a power server, but being a spot server is open to all of us.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I think
Super
that's a great
helpful.
way to put it. Yeah. Spot serving is an amazing way to train.
Yeah, I do a ton of that.
So doubles, is there any strategy that you have when it comes to doubles that stands out that is kind of like a misconception or something that you wouldn't know? Like the forehand that you just said with singles, to me is like, I'm like, that's great. I'm really gonna sit with that and work with that. Is there anything in doubles that stands out?
Yeah, so I'll just talk for the men specifically because the ladies follow generally, but men's doubles, on the pro tour has and college tennis has started to do this. It's completely changed how they play doubles. They stick the service partner in an I formation this far from the net,
Yeah.
like this
True.
far.
Yeah.
So you're down in the middle of the net, under, and you just pop up, and the number one volley now is this
Yeah.
or this,
Yeah.
which has now spawned the return lob. So I was at the US Open last year, and I did a blog. I watched part of Vavasori, the two Germans, Putz and Kravitz, played Vavasori and Bolelli. And I went back and watched the match and wrote a blog on it. It was 66 lob returns in the match. So the lob return, which
Right.
was never a really big deal for us, is now a massive deal. And the guy just pops. You had a good first serve. The guy just pops up, and his wingspan's out. He just goes and
Yeah.
gets it. I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going to go get it.
Yeah.
If you got bad knees, it's not easy to get down in that position.
Yeah.
I don't know how far down the food chain of doubles that exact thing is going to go, but I've seen more. That's like the number one play, and so you better have a good return lob, or you rip it right at the guy when he comes up and try and hit him, or you've got a spot to go. But if you can, as a returning team, part of that data, if you can make your return bounce, you're more likely to win the point. You are now the favorites to win the point.
I love to hear
Yeah.
that. I lob almost every return. So
Yes.
Get it to bounce
Yeah.
yeah,
and then
yeah,
come
yeah,
in. If they take
yeah,
it in
yeah.
the air, over the backhand, obviously that's going to be tougher. But if they get it to bounce, their win percentage is higher. Again, on my website in a blog, I've got all that data from that match.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a brilliant insight. Get the return to bounce. I think. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could and I've done it in the past. Points are very quick, but you can do practice sets where whichever side the ball bounces on, you lose the point.
Mhm.
And points are quick.
Mm,
And
Yeah.
you got to really sell that drill before. It's like,
mm,
why are we doing this? Should you be dinking the ball with the feet? Yeah, it's a great idea. Well, if you can do that in this drill, you win the point. It's not about just ripping. It's about a lob. It's about touch,
yes.
and you sell it well, and you get the players to buy into it. It's a really good drill. If you don't sell it, this drill's boring. There's no rallying, and then it's tough. Then it's tough.
Yes.
So
Mm,
Yeah.
that's up to the coach to really spend extra time before that drill starts to explain the benefits.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree. Even at so you're talking about, the I formation where, the serves partner pops up and, tries to finish the volleys into the alleys. But even in the lower levels, I think the lob return is a great play. Even where, the players are playing one up, one back, and, it's like they're on like deuce and ad court. And they're not even positioned properly. Even
Mhm.
there, you make the server hit the first shot. It's a money shot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, doubles really has a spot in our sport, and when I go to ATP finals, that there's an afternoon match and there's an evening match, and it's always doubles before singles. And doubles is a perfect way to get the crowd involved and
Yeah.
as a precursor to a singles match. It's everywhere. You don't put doubles on at 11 o'clock. Don't put doubles on after a
Yeah.
singles match.
Yeah.
Use your doubles match. Started at 6. It's over at 7:30 or 8, and then you got your singles match.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Coach Craig, I wanted to switch to the next topic, which is uh, kind of the future of tennis coaching, the way you see it. Is it going to be more analytics driven, given the fact that we just saw recently in the US Open, coaching is now being allowed mid-match. Players are allowed to talk to their coaches, their cues being passed. I mean, it's still up in the air, like how well it's actually being used by the players or how helpful it is. But you think that, the future of coaching at least is going towards being more analytics driven, and of course the other part is how it's going to be presented to the player, of course, but where do you see this go?
Yeah. So I sat in the coach's box for Gabriel Diallo's matches with Marty Laurendow and his team, and we were given a tablet, a
Mhm.
pad, And Marty goes, yeah, yeah, you look after this. So it's really difficult to look at the data and watch, the points are going so quickly, the match is going so quickly. You're looking down at the data, you're like, I don't, I haven't been trained on this. I don't know what, IBM's got so much data on it. It's not simple. And by the end of sometimes the second or third set, we found something in there that, Gabriel come over was like, mate, every second serve is going to the back end in the ad. Every one. Sit on that, step into that, where we could find something. But it was just the first time I looked at it, I was like, how am I supposed to understand this? It needed to be way, way, way simpler. They need to get rid of literally 80% of what was on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's number one, but it's there. The second part is, as I mentioned before, what am I now doing with players? I kind of, was one of the first people to really get involved with data, and data's huge. But data, there's something bigger than data, video, and video of yourself playing. So data really needs to be, hey, green flag, red flag. Hey, look at this data point compared to the player average, compared to the tour average. This is a good number. Let's go watch the video and figure out why. So, if you go through the revolutions of data, I kind of kicked it off back in, early 2000s, even up to 2015, 2000 to 2015. It was that was like, no, Craig, no, don't do that. No data. We don't want it. I remember going to Miami coaching Rajiv Ram. There's no tennis TV. There's no anything. There's CBS, but I'm the only coach there with a pole and a camcorder. I'm the only one, and I'm recording his singles and doubles matches. So at the start, the first phase of data was, we don't care, go away. Second phase is, oh, you're working with Novak. Oh, and he's won matches. Oh, he's won 3 Grand Slams in a row. Oh, he's killing people. Oh, he just went from 22 to 1, come off an injury. So then it becomes FOMO. So
Yeah.
I think I need a piece of this.
Yeah.
Then it went into level 3. It's like it becomes like, well, my data's better than yours, or I've got more. And it became companies vomiting data.
Yeah.
Too much, interesting but irrelevant. I've got 60 pages. I just recently saw a report for a junior that was 62 pages long. I'm like, what in the world are we doing?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So phase 3 was, let's just vomit data. Don't care what it is. Don't care. Have no idea if it's relevant or not. We got more of it. And then phase 4, which is now starting at the moment, is let's get back to video. Let's get back to really looking and watching the video and seeing the nuances of player patterns and shots and what is really happening. So that's kind of where we're at with data and video.
Yep. Great insights. I think we can go on and on and on. Believe me, Coach Craig.
We'll get delivery. I had some really good pizza last night delivered, and I'm like, my goodness. Actually, when I say delivered, my wife and daughter, they were coming back from tennis, and it was like the best pizza I've had in ages. I'm like,
What kind of pizza was it?
I like, what I like? Just
margarita,
pure vegetables.
Wow.
Onions, green peppers, jalapenos, all of that. A couple, whatever else, banana peppers.
Mm.
I just
Do you like pineapples?
Oh, pineapple was on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's the number one ingredient
Yes.
I put on a pizza.
Yep.
And I had it last night. And the whole of Italy can go to hell.
Yeah.
Because they think it's just sacrilegious, and it's absolutely amazing.
I second that.
I don't for that.
Yeah.
Coach Craig, we'd like to be respectful of your time. So I guess we are reaching towards the end of the segment. So a couple of fun, before we get into the fun segment, any announcements you have, any courses, where can we find you on the internet? Any information?
My website, that's very nice. My website is braingametennis.com. I have 12 courses and 70 webinars. So the webinars are an hour and a half long, probably too long, but it is what it is. There's a lot of information. They're very specific. The webinars are narrow but deep. And you want to get involved with something, and it's like, there it is. There's the mental side, the emotional side, the technique side, the strategy side, singles and doubles. So I highly recommend that. And I still do a lot of writing. I still do a bunch of stuff in my blog, but the website is where the majority of stuff comes out.
That's awesome. And are you on social media or any of your?
I have to, social media, I'm doing a cleanse. Twitter,
Okay.
it just seems like, from that tennis and Twitter were like this, and now
Yes.
it
Yeah.
just hasn't been. So,
Yeah.
a little bit on Insta. Insta's more my travels with Craig more than
Okay.
anything else.
Okay.
But Insta's there. I think C O'Shaughnessy. Twitter I hardly use. Yeah, that's kind of it. So I need to get back to it. I just think we haven't quite found the right platform. That I'm like, oh my God, this post Twitter, this is it, and I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, indeed. It is complicated. A lot of things out there.
Yeah.
All right, here's a fun question for you. You see, tennis hackery, the word hack is in our name. So, uh, what is something that you have kind of solved on the fly or hack? Like you saw the problem and you were able to on the fly think of a solution and figure it out, whether it's on court or off court. It's a very open-ended question. So,
Yeah. So part of it, what it brings me back to is I'm a strategy coach. That's what I love. I love talking X's and O's and coaching that. But I own a ball machine, which is the opposite of that, really. And if you can't hit a forehand and a backhand with the right technique and where it goes, you can't run the strategy.
Yeah.
So one of the things is that in order for me to hack strategy and make you a better strategy player, almost always, and this is a real problem in our sport, almost always, when I get a new player come to me, I have to undo a lot of what I see. Undo. So the ball machine is an integral part of that because I can stand right next to you. I can control it from my phone.
yeah,
I can stand right next to you. I can make changes to it. We need more spin. We need more height. We need more depth. I can do it all on my phone. I can stand right there. And also the other hack that I have is I record everything. I've got a $12 tripod from Hong Kong. I put my iPhone on it, and not only am I back there standing next to you, I'm also standing next to the iPhone on the tripod,
yeah,
so you can hear it. So I
Yeah.
record when I'm doing lessons. Almost always, I'm recording the lesson on my iPhone. Um, at the end of the lesson, I I probably stopped and started 4 or 5 times. I just do an airdrop to my Mac. I put it in an iMovie and burn it as one movie. So I got about a 35, 40 minute video, and I put it
right.
onto YouTube as an unlisted video, so no one can search for it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's all free, but the ball
True.
machine really really helps. So
Yeah.
that was a really good one. Let's have a look at my iPhone and see what it is. I can change the angles. I can talk to you, but most importantly, if you want to improve your coaching, you buy a tripod, you stand next to them, and then you put it on. You send it to and a lot of times the dad's not there because he's working, or the mum's not there, he's dropped it. They got other kids they're picking up. And it's like, how was the lesson? Well, when you send the lesson that evening, you send it to the kid, you send it to
That's huge. Yeah.
the other coach,
Yeah.
you send it to mom, you send it to dad. It's like we know what's going on. Plus, the last thing is whenever they do something well, like we're running out of balls, I grab the tripod and I put it in their face. I'm like, what just happened? What did you do well? And they explain it. So
Yeah.
getting them to talk on camera about this was good is very, very important. So I've kind of hacked
Mm.
that, you know,
That's amazing.
instead of spending a ton of money on video and analytics and everything, is like, what's the free and easiest and best way to do it? And that is.
Very cool.
Amazing insights, Coach Craig. Thank you so very much for being a guest on our episode, and I hope we can have this conversation again at some point later in the future, whenever we get the chance.
My pleasure. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun to chat. And
yeah,
Alex, it's great to bring the circle back after
I know.
a long time out at St. Mary's.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on and talking to you again, and looking forward to actually going on your website and getting some courses. Very stoked.
My pleasure. I'd love to help you with that. So reach out to me first.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's good.
Great to see you guys.
Great to see
See
you,
you,
Coach
Greg.
Greg. Bye.
Bye.